Hi, welcome to a 30-minute, very gentle style yoga practice. We're going to focus a lot on the relationship to the body today. This is a great class to do if you are having any kind of body image issues going on. We all have sometimes a little bit of a contentious relationship in that regard, or if you're having some sort of health stuff that's coming up, it's maybe a little bit difficult to sit with or to accept. And so we'll be focusing a lot on awareness and acceptance today. You can see I've got honey here modeling, just being as relaxed as possible, which is part of the goal, but not at all necessary. So if you're feeling a little bit agitated, if you're feeling a little bit anxious, this is still a really perfect practice to meet yourself where you're at. So we're going to start either in a seated meditation or another meditative posture. I'll start seated. If you're truly feeling not so great though, showing up to this class, I think lying down for your meditative practice can be just a nice kind of gentle way to treat yourself. So you can show up in a way that your body really knows like you're going to do your best to take care of it. This isn't about forcing or pushing or pressure. So meet me on the mat either in a seat or on your back, or honestly anywhere where you can drop in to that alert and aware state of being. Also, I guess I could mention, if you're practicing somewhere, it can be nice to dim the lights. It can be nice to light a candle. We're really working on kind of setting the tone today that in a way that feels loving and nurturing. So find your meditative posture. Take a deep breath in, perhaps even shrug your shoulders up into your ears. And then as you exhale, relax the shoulders down, let the eyes close down. A moment to tune in to the natural rhythm of your breath. And take a moment to bring some awareness into your spine, seeing if you can sense the length there from the tailbone all the way to the crown of the head. And then option to bring a hand or even both hands to your heart, connecting with your heart space, connecting with this source of compassion, and perhaps even setting the intention to be available for really unconditional love. In the service of that intention, even if it feels like a big, old, impossible reach, it's still a very worthy intention. So in the service of that, taking a moment to pause and welcome all of the parts of you. We all have pieces that are pretty easy to love, pretty easy to appreciate. It's nice to acknowledge those. Perhaps you're really kind toward others. Perhaps you are great at your job. Maybe you're great with words. But perhaps even more importantly, welcoming the parts of yourself that are a little bit harder to tolerate, a little bit harder to hold space for. Part of the human condition is that we absolutely have both. So even if you don't want to go through and name those parts, just making a point to open up your heart, open up that kind of metaphorical door so that all of you is welcome here. And breathe into that intention for a moment. And then if you're not already there, you can make your way onto your back, perhaps blinking the eyes open, but keeping the gaze soft. Moving again in a way that is reassuring to your body that this is about respect, that it's about self-care, that it's not about pushing or pulling or pressure. Lying out onto your back, bend the knees so the feet are down and the knees are up. And go ahead and inhale your arms up over your head. Find a good stretch through the side body. Exhale your arms toward the sides of your body. Check in with your shoulders as you do that. Keep the back of your neck nice and long. We'll do it a couple more times. Slowly inhaling, the arms come up, just opening up through the shoulders, the underarms. And then exhaling, the fingertips come back down. Last time, stretch up as you breathe in. This time bring your right knee in toward your chest. You can interlace your fingers around the right knee. And then go ahead and bring a couple little bits of rotation through the right ankle. And take the circles in the other direction. When you're ready, gently extend the right leg up. You can clasp behind the right knee. There's no goal to straighten the leg. The goal is to bring awareness into the stretch, awareness into the body, and perhaps even connect, right? That mind-body connection. So being present for the sensation of the stretch, being available for the sensation of your body here. Couple deep breaths. Setting up a figure four stretch, really great way to open up through the hips. Right foot over the top of the left thigh. You pause right there, just breathe into it. Again, really deliberate around this idea of not forcing. So oftentimes we'll reach between and catch the left leg. If you must go for it. But if you can feel any bit of a stretch without catching the left leg, if you can kind of sink into that more subtle sensation, there's oftentimes a lot of unseen benefit. Because we will be holding these poses for a little bit longer, it makes more sense to not come in for that full range of motion, but rather to allow that just really natural stopping point of your body to be supported. Keep the legs. We're going to add a twist here. So you're going to drop the legs toward your left. The sole of the right foot will land probably outside of your mat to the left. The right knee can fall in a little bit if that feels good. Otherwise, keep gently encouraging the right leg away from the body. So you'll feel a pretty good stretch in the outside edge of your right hip and thigh, perhaps through the lower back. Take a breath in while you're here, and then extend the right arm to the right, gently nodding your chin toward the right. Just breathe. And then slowly coming through the center, we're going to take the twist to the other side. Legs will stay relatively the same. Just floating the legs over to your right. I like to arch my back a little bit here. Breathe in and then extend through the left fingertips on this side, right? See if you can mentally just offer this practice up as a gift to your body. And then perhaps while you're here, using this practice as an opportunity for some self-reflection around what you would describe the relationship that you have with your body as being like. So I know for myself, a lot of the time there's quite a bit of conflict there. Come back to the center. And we have to start from this awareness and acceptance, really meeting yourself where you're at, feet down. Go ahead and slowly windshield wiper the knees side to side, just rinsing out those twists and that stretch, letting it kind of settle in the pelvis and the low belly, to the hips and even the thighs as well. Come back to the center, feet down, knees up. Let's check back in with the arms. Reach up over your head as you breathe in. And then catch hold of your left knee. Rotate the left ankle both clockwise and counterclockwise. And then gently extending the left leg, finding that point where the stretch is meaningful, but you haven't crossed into the territory where it's too much, where the body's kind of a little bit where you don't want to activate the sympathetic nervous system. That's what we're working on here, is to stay out of the fight or flight, or at least kind of de-escalate that if you feel like you're living in that side of the nervous system primarily, as a lot of us are. It can be really important to be even more gentle so that that softer side of the nervous system has a chance to come online. Just the side where we get to rest and digest and repair, metabolize and process life as it's unfolded around us. Setting up your figure 4 stretch, easing the left foot into place. And then again, if you must catch hold of the right thigh, please do. Otherwise, find that range of motion. It's actually quite enough. And deepen the sensation just by deepening your awareness. You can close the eyes down to do that and bring some awareness into the legs and the pelvis. When you're ready, beginning to transition to the twist with the feet floating, the left foot rather floating to the right. Breathing in as you find some length in the spine, perhaps a bit of extension, and then exhale as you reach the left arm out. It's worth it in that self-reflective process to think about just the quality of thoughts that you have about your body, the beliefs that you have, the values maybe, and to also really be aware that our experiences, our emotions, our feelings, all of that is very much connected to the types of thoughts that we have, the beliefs. Coming through the center, over to the other side, just rinsing the twist out, knees to the left, right arm reaching. And so if we are experiencing a kind of conflicted relationship with the body for any reason, kind of reverse engineering that experience and noticing what type of thoughts we have around the body. Coming back to the center, feet down, little windshield wipers with the knees. There's this Krishnamurti quote that you're not actually thinking your thoughts, you're thinking the culture's thoughts. And I think this is a real key when we're experiencing some degree of dissatisfaction or suffering or struggle in that relationship, to notice if there's a way of thinking that could alleviate a little bit of that suffering. Letting yourself roll all the way to one side or the other so that you can press up to a seat. We'll just do a little bit of dynamic stretching here. Cross the legs, however feels comfortable. Reach your arms up over your head as you breathe in. And then we're going to take a twist to the right. Left hand, right knee. Tent the right fingertips back behind you. Lift your chest up as you breathe in. And then in that rotation, nodding your chin toward your back shoulder. Come back up through the center. Inhale, both arms come up. And then switch, take your twist to the left. Lift your heart, breathe in. Rotate all the way through to the crown of your head. Inhale back to the center. We're going to take a side bend to the right. Bring your right fingertips down. Left arm comes up and over. Stay here. One more deep inhale. Bring the left hand down outside of your left hip as you exhale. Right arm sweeps up. Breathe in. And then take that side bend off to the left. Stay for your inhale and stretch. And back down. Go ahead and work your way to your hands and your knees. Come into a tabletop position. Lift the hips and the heart. Take a breath in. And then round your back. Tuck your chin toward your chest. Do that a couple times. Hips and heart. Inhale as you find cow pose. Exhale, round the back, coming into cat. Once more. Deep breath in. Heart up, hips up. And then arch the spine, let the head drop, give your head a good little shake, no, and a nod, yes. Come through a neutral spine. If you've got a lot of pressure on the hands, you can come on to the forearms, so either up on your palms, or if the wrists or the hands don't appreciate that today, drop down onto the forearms. I'll take that variation in fact, and then tuck the left foot toes under, push back through your left heel. Again, be mindful of how deep you're taking the stretch. See if you can take just enough, no more than enough. So there's very much a cultural tendency to go in a little bit hard, to have this sort of mentality that there's something to prove or something to earn. And for today in this practice, see if you can be available to this idea that there is nothing that you need to prove. There's nothing that you need to do to earn your worthiness. And the same is true for your body, right? What would it be like if that was the belief instead? If the belief was just that you were inherently good enough and worthy, that you trusted your body's wisdom, and that you unconditionally respected it to manage your energy. Come back to the palms if you're on the forearms. You're still on that back set of toes. Now lift the leg up, go slow, bring the knee up, step the left foot down outside of the left hand. You might have to help it there a little bit. So we're setting up for something called lizard lunge. You can stay right here. This is lizard lunge. If it feels like your body would be open to walking that right leg back a bit, untucking the toes, coming onto the right thigh, letting the hips kind of melt down. I like to keep the chest lifted gently here, just so that the breath still has some space. And that's just an option. Also, the variation of relaxing the head and the neck down, totally okay. Again, trust your body's own wisdom and respect what you find there. About 3 deep breaths here, really working into that deep connective tissue through the hips and the pelvis, and doing your best to keep the muscles on the sides of your neck and your jaw relaxed. One more little bit of a stretch on this side. Go ahead and walk the hands back a little bit. Shift the hips back. Start to straighten the left leg out. You can bring your left hand outside of the left leg. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Just allow the stretch to keep sinking into the body. Working into the little muscle fibers in the back of the left thigh. Perhaps the right and the left sides of your spine. And then we're going to work back to the hands and the knees, really mindful transitions, perhaps rolling back onto that foot, bringing the left hand inside, and then sliding the knee back. Press back into an extended child's pose. Bring your knees wide toward the edges of your mat. Walk the hands forward just a bit, and then push the hips slowly back toward the heels. Let the forehead drop downward. Just breathe and allow yourself to be. Again, opening up to these ideas that your body is infinitely wise and it's safe to trust and respect your body. Coming forward through the hands and the knees, we'll work through that on the other side. So this time, the right set of toes tucks under, drag the ball of your right foot back, open up to the back of the calf. If you have a yoga practice and you do down dog ever, this is a really great way to prep for down dog. Again, the option to come onto the forearms, always available. If you're on the forearms, coming back to the hands, press them out away with your hands, with a little bit of strength, lift the right leg, bring the right leg forward outside of the right pinky finger for a lizard. You stay right here and breathe, or stretch the left leg back behind you. If the left leg feels good back behind you, but the left knee is giving you some trouble, you can roll your mat in or place a folded blanket or something underneath that knee. Any variation with the upper body is totally okay. See if you can just be mindful about what you're doing. So if it feels good to have the heart lifted, breathe into that. If you prefer to relax the head of the neck or even come onto the forearms, choose that and make that adjustment real deliberately. So we're being really specific about how you move, where the attention is. And even being willing to make adjustments partway through a pose based on that intuitive connection that you have with your body. And so the sensations are messengers. Working into the hamstring stretch as you start to lift the hips up and back, straightening out the right leg a little bit, walking the right hand to the outside of the right leg, and letting the hips hinge. So it's gentle, but you're really easing the right hip crease back. And so it's more like a folding forward than a rounding of the spine. It's a subtle little adjustment. Walk the hands back toward that top foot. We're going to press back into that extended child's pose again. So right hand inside of the right foot. Lift the right foot. Drag the knee back gently. Knees wide. Hips back. Sinking your hips towards your heels. 3 deep breaths. Let the forehead drop down. Bring your awareness to the space between your shoulder blades. Then you can inhale to the front of the chest, the front of the heart really fill up. And then as you exhale out through the mid-back, right between the shoulder blades. One more deep breath like that. Huge inhale through the front of the chest, right in through heart center. And then exhale back out through the upper back, maybe even through the back of the neck. Stay in child's pose, but lift your head up a little bit. Lift the elbows up. We're going to thread the needle in this extended child's pose. So last good stretch for this practice. So right fingertips under the body toward the left. You can keep the palm down or turn it upright. I like to flip my palm upright and then relax your head and your neck down. Consider letting the eyelids close if you haven't already. And see if you can focus on the benefit of the stretch, really, really deliberately letting your body be available for that stretch through the right shoulder and upper back. Working with gravity as best as possible. And then using the quality of your breath, the quality of your energy and your thoughts to really play on your body's team here. Switching sides. Remember, option to spin that outside stretched hand upright or down. Good, lifting back up, walking your hands back so that you can sit up onto your hips and then swing the feet to one side or the other. Last stretch for real. I want to end in a symmetrical stretch. So we're going to come into Baddha Konasana, bringing the soles of the feet together. You can reach down and catch the feet. I oftentimes teach and practice a little bit of a foot massage. It can be this really kind of sweet act of self-care and this really beautiful way to soothe the body. So what we know is that the sensory body, so our different sensations, sound, smell, sight, and really especially touch can be a way to activate compassion and a way to soothe the self. And so If it works for you, give your feet a little rub, just a little gentle or pretty firm actually, if it feels good through the instep, maybe even through the insides of the calves and right above the Achilles tendon. Slow, slow and deliberate pressure. And then come through the center, come through something still. As much as possible, we're going to avoid pushing or forcing anything. See if you can just completely give the weight of your knees to gravity. If it feels like, whoa, way too much sensation going on, consider bringing some blocks or some folded up props underneath the knees. Even if it doesn't feel like too much pressure, if you have something handy, I'm going to grab this and that. I just happen to have them. Still a great stretch whether you have it or not. But if you can support the knees, oftentimes what happens is you get another layer of release through the skeletal muscle. And when that happens, we get another layer of release through the connective tissues. So that fascia that supports the lower back. Fascia has everything to do with the joints, right? So the connective tissue, the ligaments and the tendons, all of the fascia that covers the top of the thighs, quads, down through the knees. Breathing here, in and out through your nose if you can. And just allowing your body to be, allowing the legs to be held. Allowing the heart space to be active and to be open to maybe a new way of relating to your body. It's built on internal trust and respect. It's built on the idea that your body really is on your side. Well, that relationship might never be perfect. From time to time, being human means that we will go through periods of discomfort, pain, and disease. But still holding space for that trust that no matter what, your body is doing its absolute best to provide the best home for you that it can. And see if you can come in and do the work on the mental side, right? So rewiring any of those thoughts that cause you more discomfort or exacerbate your suffering. And the affirmation that works for me, you'll have to use your own language here, but the one that works for me is my body is exactly what it needs to be for this phase of my life. It will continue to change. Just like everything else in the natural world changes. We're part of the natural world. Our bodies are part of this natural world. And giving unconditional permission to those different phases of its evolution, of its life cycle. And trusting that there's this really profound wisdom that's guiding all of that. Take your time to slowly lift up and work your way into your Shavasana. Again, because this practice is intended to be incredibly gentle, loving, I would even say, you could consider sliding something underneath your knees if you have anything at all going on in the lower back. Lately, I have stuff going on in my lower back, so I'll take that variation. You can also place something underneath the neck. And then gently setting yourself up for the most comfortable experience possible here. Press the back of your head down into the mat so that you can lift your chest a little bit, and then shimmy the shoulders closer together underneath you before you relax the chest back down. Do a nice little body scan here from the crown of your head, relaxing the scalp, the forehead, the temples, softening the eyes as the eyelids close down. Letting go of any tension in the jaw, the sides of the neck, and the shoulders. And let the chest relax and the belly settle. Bring some heaviness into the lower back and the hips, even if you've got to adjust around a little bit. Letting go of any holding through the thighs. Relaxing through the ankles. And then softening all the way through the tips of the toes. And take as much time as you need here in Shavasana. Really intentional, allowing your practice to settle in. Perhaps doing that bit of self-reflection and settling on some sort of an affirmation that works for you in your own language. Something that reminds you that it's safe to trust your body, that it's safe to let go of some of the beliefs that have ended up causing you more harm than help. That ultimately it's up to you to decide what values you hold at your heart. And what thoughts and beliefs you allow to have such a deciding force in your life. Thank you for sharing your practice today. Take beautiful care of yourself as best as you can. Namaste.